You ready?
Are you ready for this?
Y'all, get your pussyfootin', lollygagging, fiddle farting, meek magoo distracted asses in hyperfocus. Now, let's go conquer some goals. All right. Today, I am going to, for the first time, interview somebody. And who else? None other than my love, Paul. He is one of the most intellectual, inspiring people that I have ever met. And that is why I fell in love with him to begin with. I don't know if you guys have taken this, but Michelle and Sammy from Build a Wealthy Spirit put us on to this quiz called the Sparketype quiz. And in the Sparketype quiz, it tells you kind of like what your category is. But you have a primary and then you have a shadow. So my primary was Maven, who likes to learn, and my shadow was scientist, who likes to basically solve problems. And Paul took that quiz as well. So Paul, what were your results?
First, I just want to say I am honored to be the first podcast guest, podcast interviewee of many. So I appreciate that. And yeah, the Sparketype quiz was probably something that kind of solidified what I've been thinking about for a while. My Sparketype is that I was the essentialist, and as the essentialist, distilling the world, organizing it, simplifying and optimizing is my call. I love data and spreadsheets that organize. I like shelves, lots and lots of shelves. So when I saw that, it was kind of cool because I've always thought that I've enjoyed in the background organizing things. One of the things I really enjoy doing that most people don't is documenting things, especially as an engineer, coding. A lot of people just spit out their code and don't document anything. So the next person comes along and it's a complete crap show. But I actually enjoy commenting my code and documenting things so that way things could be read for the next time. So once I read that, I was like, you know what? I really do like organizing. I'm going to lean into that more.
I typically will like drop comment bombs in my code that are things like, "You are reading this, you silly peasant," and then they read it and then they're like, "What?" So I totally get that. One of the things that you do with your scientist archetype in your what's the other one? Essentialist.
Essentialist,
Yes,
and
okay.
then my anti is advocate.
Okay. So you don't like to advocate for people.
Nope.
Okay. So you like to organize primarily as an essentialist, and then you are also a scientist as your shadow. So you like to solve problems like I do, and I think that's why we connect on certain levels. And then you're anti as advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. When
I was gonna say, so your anti is nurturer.
yes.
Right? So yes,
I don't like to baby people.
we both
Like, do not. I'm not going to baby you.
we both dislike
Grow a pair.
helping people. Yes. Exactly. That's why we fell in love.
Yes. And when I first met you, you were going through kind of like a transformation. And I would say I kind of went through a transformation myself, and your transformation isn't all that different from my own. So, can you tell me a little bit about your transformation and how you got to where you are now?
Yes. I had a few years ago, I went through a massive series of events that felt very unfortunate at the time and all coming together. The first thing was that COVID was happening. That was the first thing. Secondly, my relationship of 10 years, that I moved from California with, that relationship ended. We broke up. And then, third, I lost my job. All in the same few months. COVID was happening, lost my relationship, lost my job. And for me, I didn't really have my social network. I didn't have any friends of my own. My social network was basically my other half, her family. And then I lost my job, so I lost all the coworkers that I saw on a daily basis. And COVID was happening. So I was like, well, okay, now I'm not seeing anybody for days, if not weeks at a time. That was not good. So I realized that this could end poorly. So I tried to figure out what can I do, and that's when I discovered this little website called Meetup.com. The
Ooh,
magic of Meetup, as I say, that website almost literally saved my life.
okay.
I joined a lot of groups, met a lot of wonderful people, and eventually started creating my own groups. I created a game group that has led to so many wonderful relationships, good friends, good memories, and also the the biggest thing was the ability to realize that I, just some random person, can create something out of nothing, create a community, and then create an ability for other people to come together and have their own relationships, whether it's friends or boyfriend, girlfriend. And so that was amazing. And I've taken that now onward to other areas as well.
Okay, so you have other meetup groups too. I know because I'm part of them. You know what's probably your favorite meetup group that you've ever created or acquired?
Hmm. The other meetup group that we inherited is Deep Talk. And Deep Talk is the purpose of that group is to get together with complete strangers that you've never met before because it's meetup, so somebody could sign up for the first time. And then you get together and talk about deep questions where you share something vulnerable about yourself,
Okay.
something deeply intimate and personal. So you get together with complete strangers and share your deepest, darkest secrets. And it's wonderful.
Okay. Stranger danger. Give me an example of a question.
Uh, One question that we had was um, what one of the it's a weird question, but it led to a wonderful conversation. And the question was simply, what is your problem? What is your problem?
Mm,
And of course, you can answer that any way you want, but very quickly, people shared their deepest, darkest problems that they've had in life, something they've been facing for many years or their whole life, or something that they're facing now that they want to try to rectify in the future.
what's your problem?
What's my problem? I don't remember exactly what I said back then. It was many months ago. I think my problem right now is perhaps trying to figure out what's coming in the next stage of life.
That's your problem. What's
Yeah.
coming in the next stage of life? All right.
I don't
It's a
have.
mystery.
Yeah. When it comes to personality, I don't really have any problems. I am flawless.
Flawless.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with me. I am
There's nothing
perfect.
wrong.
I am absolutely perfect.
Mhm.
And most people don't think like that, but I appreciate that about you. Whether you genuinely feel that way or whether you don't, he's like, I'm going to say it anyway. But
Yeah. This is probably something talking about transformations. One of the things that I started doing is coming to game night. I started playing around with funny glasses.
Mhm.
Coming to game night with different types of glasses that are different shapes, different colors, and over time, I realized that I wore the sunglasses. These are prescription, by the way, and I wore these just walking around. And every time, every once in a while, I would see out of the corner of my eye, even if somebody didn't say anything, I could tell just by the way someone was looking. That they looked at me and they thought, "Wow, this guy is a moron. Look at those glasses. That guy's an idiot." And it kind of hurts a little bit when some complete stranger is casting judgment on you. And I kind of noticed the cool thing though is that after a few months, I kind of stopped caring, cared less and less, and then it doesn't matter. So now I go into public and wear some asymmetrical glasses and a banana tie and a mint green suit, and I don't care. I
we
do not
met.
care. Yeah.
You've taught me a lot about that, and I used to struggle a lot with people pleasing and self judgment and wondering what other people are thinking all the time. So that is one of the things that I very much appreciate about you is that you taught me not to care so much about what other people think. When I walk into a room now, I don't wonder what other people are thinking about me. I just am authentically myself, and who cares if they don't like me? If they do like me, great. If they don't, then they're not my people. I often say this. We learned this from a friend, Tony, and I've brought this up in conversation multiple times since then, and people love it. But she said, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So if you go into a room and somebody doesn't like you, you can't make them happy, those aren't your people. So I appreciate that you taught me that and let me into that secret of not caring about judgment. You're just like, whatever, it is what it is. So I wrote that line.
No matter what we say to each other when we cause arguments and all sorts of bad fire, it doesn't matter because we love each other.
Tons of fights.
Yeah.
Tons of fights. All right. So you were talking about meetup. Is there a specific formula for creating a great meetup group? Because I know
Yes.
you're all about formulas
Oh
and you
yes.
think everything in life is a formula, right? Or no?
Oh yes.
Okay. So what is the formula for a great meetup group?
That is something I kind of stumbled into over the many years. Um, if I were to create any meetup group and going forward, first thing, create something a very deep niche. We've learned from our friends, Sammy and Michelle, in the book, The Art of Gathering, that a party or an event or a group for everybody is a group for nobody. If you have a group that's just like, let's just get together and talk, then that's, who cares, right? So create a niche.
Okay.
So, like, well, for my first group, it was the Charleston Friday night board games. Charleston Friday night board games. So it's in Charleston. It's Friday night. We're playing board games. Very niche. So 95% of people are probably not going to care. That's okay. So deep talk. If you're the type of person who wants to get together with strangers and talk about vulnerable topics and share deeply with personal issues, this is the group for you. Lately, the group that we just created a few days ago, the House Hacking Charleston Meetup Group, that was very specific. If you are interested in purchasing a house and then house hacking, well, this is the group for you. But if it's just like real estate, well, that's just too general. So make it very specific. The other things that I have settled on is the importance of also going into the settings and making sure that you have questions that people must answer before they join the group.
Pro tip.
Pro tip, exactly. So that way you can get a little more information. And then the type of person who's going to answer a few questions to join the group is the type of person who's serious and really wants to be there, rather than just people who just like click join. They don't really care.
They're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And how do you know when people are answering their questions that they're like a good person to join your group and what you describe as like a positive energizer?
Yes, exactly. So one of the things I'm very watchful of is that when someone joins your group or tries to join, they answer all these questions. If they answer in one word, like it's their answer, like, "Hey, what's the most fun thing about you?" And they say breathing. It's like, all right, that's not going to be a good person. That's just a person who's going one step higher than clicking join. So if they have one word answers, it's probably not great. The other thing that I would say is that, and this is going to be very difficult for most people. Most people do not want to do this, and that's fine. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort. Every single person that joins the group, they fill out those questions. They still don't get into the group. I message every single person individually. Every single person. I have to try to have a little bit of a conversation. I did realize early on, especially with the game group, that sometimes people would join and then just never show up. But I noticed over time, if I would message somebody and say, "Hey, I'm Paul. Thank you for joining my group. We'd love to see you." And then they say, "Oh, this is actually a real person. And this is a real group." And then they're more likely to show up and maybe make some good friends.
That's the point. Okay. Actually have that one-on-one conversation. And that makes them probably be more interested in the group because they know somebody who's in the group and who hosts the group. So that creates that rapport with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So we talked about formulas, and as a scientist and an essentialist and organizer, you like making formulas out of life, right?
Yeah.
You are the engineer.
The engineer.
You are engineering. He's engineering life. You've done a lot of research after your breakup about relationships and love.
Yeah.
Is there a formula for love?
Yes.
Ooh.
There absolutely is a formula for love. And this is something that I learned over many years after my breakup. one of the things that I started doing is I started walking and listening to audiobooks.
Okay.
And one of the audiobooks that I started listening to, we have it right here.
Okay.
What a coincidence. This is The Rational Male. I wouldn't recommend anybody read this because it takes a strong will to read that. It's kind of written in a very harsh tone that most people will not be able to bypass. But the information is salient.
Okay.
One of the things that this book says from the beginning is the idea that every person has their own subjective value on how they value other people in their dating market. And again, subjective for everybody. Some people like tall people, some people like short people. Some people really value humor. Some people really value being a good parent.
Okay.
Some people really value artistic ability. Maybe they really want somebody who is good at playing the piano, or somebody who is really good at drawing or art or something like that. Everybody has a subjective value on what they place on other people. And then you can add all that up and then you kind of put a number on people. That's the SMV score, sexual market value. Sexual
Okay.
market value. So again, that's subjective for everybody. The other uh, the other thing that goes into that is the idea of hypergamy. Hypergamy, and comes from thousands of years ago, where it used to be old monarchies, kings and queens. They would marry off their daughters to other nations in order to join together and make peace. Um, and also, I think that the caste system in India and other places like that. The idea is to marry your daughter off to someone who's higher up in the social system, maybe more wealthy, with more status, whatever it is, and then it would be entered into a higher level. Bringing that into the modern day, whatever level that you think you are, maybe you think you are a top 70% of all women or whatever, top 80%, top 90%, something like that, then you will look for a man who is not just at that same level relative to all the other men, but even higher. So if you
Okay.
think you're a top 80% woman, you want a top 90% man. You want higher than that. So then that's the concept of hypergamy.
So people are looking for somebody who is seemingly the best option that they can get for their sexual market value.
Yes.
Okay. How does one increase their sexual market value? Like, what are the ways to increase that value?
It's a great question. It's something that I was tried to think about very hard for many months and many years.
Okay.
So there's a few things that are categorically useful for everybody, and that's obviously appearance. So if you are fit and muscular and you go to the gym, you work out, and you're healthy, that appeals to a lot of people. Of course, yes, there's some people who don't care about physical appearance at all. That's fine, but it's kind of like casting a wide net when you go fishing or whatever. I've never fished, so I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's shrimping or fishing or whatever. I don't know. Crabbing, who knows? All sorts of water analogies. But
Alright.
yes, so physical appearance is one. Having a good job is probably another one. You don't have to make millions of dollars, but having as high income as you possibly can, or just having a comfortable living, right? So that you can afford to do nice things. Probably should go without saying. Personal hygiene, cutting your hair, shaving your face, keeping your clothes clean, keeping your car clean, keeping your shoes clean. Right?
That's a big one.
Exactly, right? So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people, a lot of women that go on dates and they look at the guy's car and if that guy's car is not good, they're out, right? So cleanliness, hygiene, those are things that are useful for everybody. Um, there's also the standard being a good person, blah blah, all that, color board stuff. But humor is a good
Okay.
one too. Humor is a good one, right?
That's fair.
Something that people don't necessarily think about a lot that I learned from this book is the concept of lifestyle design.
Okay.
Lifestyle design.
Tell me what lifestyle design is.
Lifestyle design. This is the idea that you have to create a lifestyle or just have a lifestyle that a woman would want to jump into.
Hmm.
For example,
Okay.
if you are looking for a woman who likes to party, then it would be amazing if you were the type of person who you could walk into any bar or any club in Charleston and everybody would know your name. You knew the bartender, you knew the bouncer, and maybe you'd get free drinks. You would walk in and people would cheer for you, right? If the type of woman enjoys that, then you would be at the top because you walk into any bar and you'd be like amazing, right? So lifestyle design is creating that life for yourself that would make somebody say that's appealing. So for me, one of the things that part of my transformation journey is that I didn't have any social life of my own. I didn't have any friends of my own a few years ago. And I thought, well, okay, if I have to have a lifestyle that somebody would want to jump into, then I have to have my own friends. I have to have my own social circle. Also helpful in other ways, having a support network. But something that somebody else would want to see is like, okay, this guy's doing. Oh, he's got this cool game group. Oh, he does this other group for kayaking, paddleboarding. Oh, he's doing this artistic stuff too. So creating a lifestyle that might be interesting to somebody. Again, obviously, nothing appeals to everybody. So it's subjective based on what you're doing. But thinking logically about that, sitting at home and playing video game, playing League of Legends, and watching Netflix, that may not be appealing to some. It's appealing to some people, but it's more interesting to do other things.
Your lifestyle design worked for me, apparently. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Every time I invited you to something, you said yes.
Yes.
Whether it was having a game night, or hey, you want to go to this real estate group, or hey, you want to go to this meetup group to go have coffee and do some artistic coloring, coffee and coloring.
Coffee and coloring.
You want to go to this, do some watercoloring with the Crafty Queers and Allies. That is literally the group name, Crafty Queers and Allies. Yeah.
To give a little backstory, when I first met Paul, I was very shy and I was trying to come into my own and kind of do the same thing that he was doing. I was the type of person that would sit like in the back of the room. I didn't want to be spoken to. I was very shy. I was, my mom would call that queer. She would say you're very queer. So I was just awkward and I wanted to learn how to present myself in a better way. And I wanted to be able to walk into a room and talk to anybody in there. And Paul was really good at that. A, and B, you were just everywhere. You were going to all the networking events. And I knew that if I spent time with you and did the same things that you were doing, that I would become at some point as comfortable as you are in front of people. And I think that I have gotten to that point. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love that. That's probably one of the things that attracted me initially. I'd say, hey, you want to go to Toastmasters? Yes. Want to go to this other group? Yeah. And let's get to spend time together.
You like people who show up. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me why you like people that show up.
I can't entirely say exactly why, but it is something that bothers me when somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to be at this place," and then just doesn't. Maybe a little bit because of Meetup. Meetup definitely has a culture of any group. Usually, you'll get 50% of the people, 80% of the people, whatever it is, that don't show up. They just RSVP and don't show up. One of my favorite quotes that I try to live by, we disagree on, we disagree on this, is the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So I think if you RSVP to a meetup group and then you don't show up, well, you're probably not showing up to other things too. You're probably not showing up to the gym. You're probably not showing up for family sometimes. You're probably not showing up for your friends sometimes. Maybe you're literally not showing up for work sometimes. But if you say, I'm going to be there, and then you don't, then that is a clear sign.
So the reason I disagreed with you is because I felt like I sucked at that. So I was like, I've got to come up with an excuse for this. I got to come up with an excuse, self-preservation. But you're right. I mean, I think basically my argument was that, let's say you have like a pie, like a circle of all the different categories of your life, right? And we've done this exercise a few times, the wheel of life.
The wheel of life.
Where you basically go into that circle with all the different categories and you score yourself in each. And what they say is that if you have balanced, we love the word balance, If you have a balanced wheel where you are scoring around the same in all of those categories, then that's supposedly a good thing. Um, I tend to lean in very high in some categories and very low in other categories. So I was like, you can be great in one category and focus all your energy in one category and like completely eliminate this other one over here. So that was my argument. But to be fair, I felt attacked.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so I had to come up with a reason and an argument for that. So you got me.
Okay.
You got me on that one.
It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay. Well, you got me in one area. Congratulations, Carl. So we've talked about your transformation. We've talked about the formula to meet upgrade. So we've talked about the formula to love. How do you focus your energy and how do you deal with the distractions in your life? Is there a formula for that as well?
There absolutely is a
All
formula.
right, there's a
Of
formula.
course. Yes. This is something that I learned quite harshly from one of my favorite, I'll say, mentors
Okay.
that I have gotten into in the past couple of years. I was listening to him speak, and one of the things he said is that he does something so simple, so incredibly simple, that makes a world of difference in his productivity. And the thing is, this thing takes literally like half a second, and most people will not do it. And even if you tell them to do it and tell them all the benefits, they still won't do it. And he was very harsh. He said, "If you don't do this, you're an idiot, you're a moron, and you deserve to fail."
I'm listening. What
So
we got?
this thing. So what I do, based on his suggestion, is when I go to sleep at night, I will put my phone into do not disturb and focus mode.
Okay.
And then the next morning, I leave it there. So that way, anything that happens, emails, text messages, Facebook, Instagram, all this stuff, I don't see it. I don't see any of it. And I leave it there all morning until the afternoon. The result of that is that I wake up with a clear head and I can immediately focus on everything that I need to focus at work. Especially as an engineer, you need your focus to be able to code and program and do things accurately without any distraction. So doing that is probably the biggest thing. The crazy thing is, again, most people are not going to do it. So, oh my God, what if there's an emergency? Ah! It's like, well,
That's what I did when you
Yeah.
first told me to do it.
the thing is, if it's an emergency, they'll call you. If it's an emergency, they will call you, right? They're not gonna send you an emergency on Instagram.
So you leave your phone on ring. You just
Exactly.
don't have notifications coming to your phone.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. They're all just hidden away and do not disturb. So if you get a phone call, it'll still go through. You'll put it on ring if you want, but everything else is silent. Also, if you want to go a step further, you can do grayscale and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
That is the biggest thing, and it takes literally half a second. You press a button on your phone, and it's done. And then you wake up and you can have a clear focus. That I tell you, my morning programming sessions that I usually try to do for an hour, 2, 3 hours, it is like a million times more productive.
We've talked about this before, and I said that when you first told me to do this. He was like, "Don't have notifications." I'm like, "What? What if somebody needs me? What if the world explodes? Everything's gonna implode on itself and the whole world is going to end." And he's like, "Are you serious? Like that, none of that is gonna happen. Just freaking turn your notifications off. Like if they really need you, they're gonna call you." And he's right. And so I've done this a lot, and I feel like it has helped me with my focus in the morning. Over the course of the day, you're making decisions constantly, and so your brain gets fatigued. So you should really do your most important things in the morning.
I want to save my maximum, my creativity, my brain power in the morning when it's at its sharpest to do the programming stuff. Then the other stuff like checking email and messages, all that stuff can be in the afternoon. So that was very critical, I think just that one sentence that I forget exactly how it was, but the cognitive energy in the morning, you want to save that because it is critical. That is really important.
You mentioned that tip about do not disturb and no notifications came from someone, but you didn't mention who. So who is this secret person?
The secret mentor. I didn't mention because people probably hate him or something like that. He's a famous YouTuber. His name is Hamza. He's famous because he gets on camera, he makes YouTube videos with he's in a bathrobe and he's often yelling at people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You like men in bathrobes who yell at people.
that is my favorite. Yes.
Is he your favorite?
Yeah.
Besides me.
When you wear a bathrobe, yes, besides when you wear a bathrobe, your credibility and your insight and brain power go up about 77%. I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an engineer response.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to wear bathrobes more often,
Yeah.
apparently.
Exactly.
I have a couple of more questions for you. One being, where do you see yourself going in the next 12 months? If you're going to implement this focus and your energy into one specific category, like what is that for you?
I'll answer that in two ways. At work, I kind of accidentally stumbled into a new project where they were using a technology that I had never used before in my life. And the task was to everybody on the team needed to learn it, get used to it, and then build some products. And it was rough. It was rough learning that at the beginning.
What is it?
That was Microsoft Power Automate.
Okay. He's like a pro at that now. And I'm getting better at that now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue your story.
So I learned that, and it was very difficult getting used to because it's completely different from any other technology I've used. But after soldiering through that for months and bearing with the pain, putting in extra hours, then I learned what I needed to learn and got proficient with it. And then later on, they said, "Hey, do you want to learn Microsoft Power Apps, Microsoft Power Automate, and Power Apps?" And so I was like, "Yeah." So then I started learning that. And then later on a different project, actually, I learned Microsoft Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI are part of the Microsoft Power Platform.
Okay.
And I think if you become proficient in all three of those, like that is your ticket is safe for the next 5-10 years because Microsoft is putting their power into pushing that into all these companies. It's a low code way of making all sorts of software. So for work, that's my answer. And otherwise, outside of work, something that I wish I had done years and years ago. Like I was against it for so long. I enjoyed renting because it was very easy and low stress. Now, just literally last week, buying my first house ever, and jumping into that, and I appreciate that. So buying my first house, and then with the intention that we're going to do house hacking, beginning finding some roommates, and well, before you even find roommates, doing renovations, adding bathrooms, converting bedrooms, so that way it's amenable to multiple different parties living there. House hacking, and then after we do that, then do your house, and then maybe buying another house, and then moving out. And if you're living with roommates, it's called house hacking. And if you move out and then continue doing that, having a house full of different renters by the room, then it's co-living. And what I want to focus on is first stabilizing house hacking, becoming good at that, finding renters, vetting renters, which similar to vetting people for Meetup, probably a lot of different similarities there. But then also, once we have success with that, then learning how to do that when we don't live there. That's co-living, and then maybe have a few properties like that. So that's where I want to shift my focus for the next 12 months, is making that good and systematizing it, optimizing it, and being the essentialist out of it, everything. So.
What when it comes to the co-living and the house hacking stuff, what do you need in order to grow that arena of your life or to be successful in the co-living and house hacking? What do you need more?
What do I need more of right now? I'm very happy actually because purchased this house and immediately the renovation started. So that was great. And it's good to see going to the house and seeing they're doing all this stuff. Like, oh, that's cool. We made this plan. It's coming to fruition. So hopefully we don't run into any issues with the renovation. But if we do, then what I would need is somebody to give us advice on what to do. Otherwise, the biggest part that I'm going through right now is learning how to find good renters. So I'm using Facebook Marketplace and colife.com and furnish finders. And future on my list is to look into Airbnb and VRBO. So learning how to find renters, and then we haven't done this yet because the house isn't ready, but interview them in person, having them visit, showing them around the house, getting to know them and in person. Is this somebody I would want to live with? Is this somebody that if we lived together, we would coexist peacefully and wouldn't kill each other? you know, uh, we have enough problems just us two.
I know, right?
Yeah, we're gonna add some more people. This gonna be crazy, right? So, uh, I would love other people to help us with how did you find renters? How did you find good renters? What kind of house rules or any type of thing? Other just people's experiences.
Okay.
And then after that, I mean, this is probably next year or 2 years, 3 years, whatever, but learning how to duplicate it again. Good deals. That's probably a big one.
Okay.
Good deal for a house in a good place.
So you need to be able to scale it, and you need kind of like the knowledge
Yeah.
and the experience and other people's experience to kind of help you with that and progressing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Systems to make it successful and then optimize it and then repeat it.
Well, if there's anybody who knows how to vet people, especially with your experience in meetup groups, I'm sure you will be phenomenal at that. And that is why I am so on board with this, because he'll be great at that. If there's anything I've learned through this, it's that if you master Power Platform and you wear a bathrobe all the time and you have high sexual market value, you are basically a god.
And have also no personality problems.
Like you.
Yeah.
You're perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I love it.
No judgment.
Well, thank you for joining us. Will you tell the audience how to find you?
How to find me?
Yeah.
Find me on YouTube as The Mangineer, which is coined by you. Thank you for that name.
So, I'm perfect.
Yes, exactly. The Mangineer. And also, I don't know, we might change that since we've been doing so many videos together. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're the Mangineer and the Womangineer now.
So I'm the Mangineer for now. And then otherwise, find us on Meetup. We are all over the place. Just search for our names, Paul Santana, Harris Jones on Meetup.
And then you have a website as well, right?
Website, pauldavidsantana.com. pauldavidsantana.com.
Perfect. And I will link all of that stuff in the notes as well. So thank you for coming and being on here, Paul. I appreciate you.
Honored to be the first guest of many.
Woo! Celebration time.